and through their journey, they like it's a dream to steal all the amazing wealth from India. So at that time, find a lot of wealth, we get so happy and so surprised. And I also play table. Although they try very hard, they face many misfortunes, they face many misadventures.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Hasini Lakshminarayanan here. This is the first step where I interview young achievers. If you are new to the channel, just to give a short intro about me, I'm Hasini, an 8th grader studying in Chetna Vidyashram in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. I am a freelance writer for Hindu School Edition and also a TED speaker and founder of The First Step. The First Step is being supported by the CIT, Chennai Institute of Technologies, which happens to be the #2 engineering college in Tamil Nadu, India. Now, without further delay, let's welcome our guest for the day. So we have Rithivik today, who is an amazing author, a writer. I am so curious for the conversation only because I heard about the book, which happens to be very adventurous. Like, it's like a fantasy story. So, and also he's an amazing writer. And we do have few similarities in between us, which make me more curious. And I hope the viewers are curious as well. So let's move on to the interview and welcome him. Hi Rithivik, thank you for accepting that invitation. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing great.
Cool. So let's begin with the questions then. So what not to begin with? Let's begin with your book, right? So tell us about the journey of you being an author, because publishing a book is actually it's actually a huge task, but still it's very fun, and probably you do it step by step. So tell us about that. Over to you.
Thank you, Hasini. Earlier, it was back in the year 2016 when I was studying in class 2. My father used to tell me many stories. Stories about butterflies and empty chalices, and such very magical stories. And once he told me this very short story about a tango of pirates. I was very amazed by how they travel around the world and how they escape from the Navy so skillfully. But although they try very hard, they face many misfortunes, they face many misadventures, and they lead a very adventurous and dangerous, unsure life in which they are unsure about the future. Anything may happen in their future. So that's when I got a glimpse about how a pirate's life would be through the vivid imagination of my father. So this huge journey which I undertook started in that journey in which my father told me the short story when we were going from home to school, and when he was like going to work. When I came back home, I started writing the story. Okay, so I took this little brown gray diary which I had. I took my pen. It was in that year that we started writing with the pen. So I started writing a book exactly the time when I picked up the pen. So I wrote the book for 3 years. Though it was a very small book, I wrote it slowly amidst all the school works and little things that I did at that time during 2nd and 3rd grade. But at last, slowly like a tractor plowing the field, I completed the story. And when I started typing it in the computer, I noticed how childish all those words were. How childish the story was. It was like a bedtime story. When if it were ever printed, it fitted in just like the small book. So I was like, this cannot be a book. It was so very childish that I was angry about myself. So I disposed it all together, and then I started writing it again directly in the computer, because it took me 2 jobs to write it down and then type it again. So I started writing it directly in the computer, and at last I completed the story. And it was exactly at that time when I came across this first step report about Akshat. Jagan Mohan, and I contacted Read and Publishers. The 19th of May 2020 was one of the happiest days of my life. It was when it was at that time when I received a mail from Read and Publishers saying, "We are happy to publish your book. You can send us a few pages of your work." So I sent few of them, and the Read and Jyoti Shekhar, she was my publisher. She was so happy to publish my book, and we worked hard for 5 months. Though I wrote this book for 5 years, in those 5 months, the book grew drastically. I can say like 95% of the book was when I wrote it in these 5 months. The last 5 years, I like wrote just 5% of the book, literally saying. So it was in these 5 months that the book grew in size, and it literally became a book. And at last it was published on 10th of October. Yeah, so that's quite the story of my writing journey.
Amazing. Okay, I mean, starting off with, I'm glad that first step could be, I mean, at least it could play a little tiny portion of, in your journey. And Akshat, after hearing this, he's gonna be, of course, very much pleased because his journey, in sense, is also very much like similar to yours, if I can say. So he started with, drafts in the computer, then creating it a LRT party. So I mean, it's so amazing to hear from you. I mean, the journey itself. Like I can vision you writing a book for 5 years. Like probably whenever you feel like you want to write, you write it. Then finally you see that okay, it's becoming a story right now, and you start modifying it till the best. And can you tell a little something about your book? Because we heard your journey, but I guess the audience would want to know about the book itself.
So as I said before, this story was actually told by my father. When he told stories, he told it with a reason. At that age, no one will know about the geography of Earth, and because of this story, I learned how to visualize the globe in my mind. If somebody asked me, I could tell. So Europe is to the left of Asia, and Africa is to the south of Europe, and all that stuff was all because my father told me this story. And after I finished reading this, I just observed even adults couldn't visualize the globe, but I was able to only because of this story. So this story is all about a tango of pirates in their amazing ship called the Dragon. Just like other pirate ships, it was fast, but it was quite a little smaller than other trade ships. But this ship, which was not so big but not so small, this character of the ship was very helpful for them in their journey. And in the first scene of the book, they get stuck in a storm, and they land on an island. And it was at that time when the captain of the ship discovers that this ship has a magical ability. Till then, he never knew this was there. But after the ship sunk, and when they landed on that island, he found out that this ship has this magical ability. And then he repaired the ship, and they started their journey out together again. That magical ability was the compass, the olden day compass. They don't have the glass cover like these modern compasses. So we can literally touch the needle. We can rotate it however we want it. We can play with it. We can tinker with it. So he just started meddling with it. He was bored in that island. So when he tinkered with it, he found out that the ship moved along with the movement of the needle. So then he found out that it was a remote control, just like how we have the remote control for a TV. This was a remote control of the ship. So so he was so amazed, and this factor was very useful for them in their journey. So this amazing ship, it went through many hardships in life, just like the life of the pirates. The ship literally journeyed with them in all the endeavors they faced, and and through their journey, they it's a dream to steal all the amazing wealth from India. So at that time, India had a lot of wealth, the Kohinoor diamond. We all know about that.
Right,
So
right.
there's so much amazing wealth in India. So it was their dream to steal all the wealth and be very rich and stuff, and come out of this nasty life where they have to eat fish and be thin, vomiting in the salty air of the sea. So they wanted to steal all the wealth from India, but at the same time, Indian kings and the Indian Navy were like so much powerful, and they could easily capture the pirates, and so was the Japanese Navy. In the process, they like started stealing from Japanese ships too, because like it also had the trade route with Europe and stuff. So they started stealing both the ships, but the Indian and Japanese Navy, like I did some research and I found out that these Indian Navy ships, they were like slow, but they were so strong and so big that some normal ship, it comes in its way, it just like comes and literally crushes that ship. So that's how big and that's how powerful those Indian ships were. But these Japanese ships, right, they were like just like the Japanese people. It was small, it was thin, it was long, and it was so fast. It like flies through water. So it was so fast. So these two types of ship, facing these two types of ships were very hard for the dragon. So so the pirates escape. They go around the world, where they are chased by the Indian and Japanese Navy, like Tom and Jerry. Yeah. So the Navy chases them. They go around the world. They go across the Pacific Ocean. They go across the Atlantic Ocean, and at last they go one full circle, and at last they get caught. So this is all about the story.
Okay, I am amazed because see, I am like a very fictional person. I love adventurous stories, even though like I don't read a lot because I'm lazy to read a lot. But if I'm like I fall in love with the book, then I ultimately start reading it. Like Harry Potter, I just read it, but just one book, probably Chamber of Secret, because that's the best part about it. It's so adventurous. So, viewers, after hearing this, if they want to actually read your book, where could they find it?
If somebody wants to find it, they can like go to Odyssey's web page where they can order the book, and it will be delivered at their doorstep. It's also available on Amazon. There's a paperback edition. There's a Kindle edition too, where they can like download the book and read it on Kindle. So they can find it in these places, Amazon and Odyssey.
Amazing. So if anybody is interested, please do go check it out. I'm pretty sure that it will be amazing. So moving on, seeing your book, I could sense that you love writing on the genre of like fantasy, fiction, and adventure. But what do you like usually write on? Like any other genre which you like writing on simply?
Yeah, so I like fantasy. I love fantasy so much. It opens a very new door, and we can break the confines of the original world of fiction. So we can create a whole new world, and we can do whatever we want with it. It's just like an open book. We can do anything with it. But fiction, on the other hand, has its bounds. We can't go across the limit, and like logic won't allow. So that's a major drawback with fiction. But I love fiction too, because life is as vast as fantasy itself. So when we think about it, life is like so much amazing. We can write a lot about life. We can go very philosophical. We can go very humorous. We can do whatever we want with life. We can do as much as we want life, as we do in fiction. So they're both like equal. But still, fantasy, I like it very much. I do write many poems. I love poetry. You can find traces of my poetry in my book too. I write some poems in my book. There are some poems about the journey of pirates in the middle, and at last you can find a poem where it's like so much like the olden day Shakespearean poems. I like sat for a long time. I thought about it and I wrote it. Because the stories like about the legends of the Scottish people. So when you look at legends, when you look at olden day books, it's like looks like that olden day Shakespearean language, the old English. So I wanted to bring that image to the reader's mind, that this is I wanted to remind them this is all like a legend of the Scottish people. So I wrote that poem. So yeah, I am very interested in poetry. I've written many poems. First I started writing humorous poems. First, all the poems that I wrote had the same pattern, were all lyrical, had the same rhyme scheme, and they all looked like nursery rhymes, to be precise. Yeah, so but after some days, my father told, "See, Rithik, all these poems you write are like fit for only children. So adults, they like it, they read it, but they don't. But it doesn't do any good to them. It doesn't teach them some lesson or stuff." So then I ventured into the world of philosophy. Then I wrote many philosophical poems about what was happening around us. And then I found out poetry can like describe a scene as it is. It can even exaggerate the scene. So once I wrote this poem for the poem writing contest of my school. So I was so fascinated. I wrote about clouds, okay, just the shapes clouds make. So so like this, I like philosophy. I also like science fiction a lot because I read a lot of science fiction books, and I wrote some science fiction short story for a contest. So I'm so much fascinated with science fiction also. So I like these three genres: fantasy, fiction, philosophy, and science fiction. So these four genres I'm very interested with those. Yeah.
Great. So I mean, according to me, like I'm more of a listener than a reader. So like when I'm listening to you, I'm pleased by the fact that you're mentioning out each and every detail. So what I look in for like an author is they look at from a reader's point of view what a reader would actually look, and then put in that piece into their art. So that brings it up into like a beautiful painting, right? So I mean, it's just amazing. Like as the story takes place in in ancient time, you want to bring in like all of those like poetic and kind of dramatic words, like as you mentioned, Shakespeare's old age language, because that's different, right? So each artist would have each style, or even the pronunciation of the word does matter. So it's wonderful to hear. So thanks for sharing. And also now I'm going to ask about your write-ups in the Hindu School edition and the inbox. So what do you generally write on in Hindu School edition?
So since I read a lot, it helped me a lot, because every time they ask this question about some books that we read, amazingly I found out I read all what they asked. So once they asked about a memoir, I wrote about a memoir by Jim Corbett. So and once they asked about movies, I wrote about movies. Once they asked about fiction books, I wrote about fiction. Once they asked scientific books, I wrote about science books. So whatever they asked, I knew something about it. So whatever I knew, I wrote, and it got published. So I was literally very amazed. So I started writing more, and even if I don't have any idea about what they asked, I simply write something and send it to them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have this mentality: if they want, they take it. If they don't want, they don't take it. That's it. So I have this idea, and so that's when we have this determination to write more, and that's when we think about our entry getting published, and we think about the magazine is like read by hundreds of children across India, and if it gets published, how amazing will it be? Children across India will like read what we write. So that determination pushed me forward to write many articles to the Hindu. So last week it got published for the 6th or 7th consecutive time. I'm very happy for it.
Yeah. Amazing. So I mean, I hope I do write for the Hindu School edition. So it's about one young achiever every week. So, talk about your inspiration, your other hobbies. What do you like generally do when you're like a chill pill from? Yeah, over to you.
Okay. So I go bird watching. I love birds. I love nature. I love its serenity and calm when we get when we watch nature. Some people think it's like boring, it's dangerous, it's so monotonous. Some people think about that. So when we tell about some things to once we go birding even in our area. So this is just a residential area. It has many trees. It has many people too, but the people give space for these trees. Thankfully, till now, at least here they give some space for nature too. I'm very thankful for that. But when we like go walking with a camera and binocular, we like watch many birds, and some people think the old people who are walking that they are used to us. What are you watching? We say we are looking at that owl right there, and they don't have the patience to stand and look at where it's sitting, because this owl we are watching is like the size. So we had to look at the trees carefully to find it. Owls and owls are very shy creatures, so we have to stand and watch. And they used to say, and they stand for something, they get very bored and they say, yeah, owls they're all in forests, we don't find them here. So, but they won't believe when they see that owl. They spot that owl, they'll be like so happy. What, owls are like here? Owls are here right in our place, sitting right here. Yeah, so they will get so surprised and shocked. That surprise and that happiness when we find a bird, right? It's so magical when you think about it. Okay, so when we find a new bird, we get so happy and so surprised. And I also play table tennis with my father. During this lockdown time, there was no other option for me. So we bought a table tennis table and we play every night. We play every night, and I'm so interested in it right now. I've mastered that skill and that reflex actions and all that by table tennis. And then I write. Yeah, that's a very important hobby. I write poems, stories, short stories, and all of that.
Cool. I mean, I have, certainly went for this bird sanctuary, which is somewhere near Chennai. I'm not sure, but it was like long back. But bird watching is actually good. I don't usually do bird watching, but I love like going to like a water place, hearing to those like natural sounds and stuff. I don't know why, I just love it. But yeah, cool hobby though. And apart from that, is there any like new projects which you're working on, or any new book which you're currently hearing about?
Yeah, okay. I wrote some. I'm like working on 2 novels side by side. First, I started on one novel in Tamil. Yeah, so in Tamil, I started reading a travelogue, but then I started another story in English. It's a science fiction novel. It's based on these very modern ideas that come, these very modern developments that come in science. So I picked one of those and started writing on it. And it turned out the English novel was going on more interesting than the Tamil novel. So I dumped the Tamil novel altogether. It's in some corner of my Google Drive. So then I started writing this English story. So I'm fully concentrating on that. These are my 2 new projects.
Amazing. So best of luck for both. I am curious to like read about them as well. And all the best. And all the best. And to wind it up with my common question, is there something which you'd want to change in this society? If yes, what would that be? And with that, please do share your future plans.
Okay.
Over to you.
I want to change the mentality of people towards riding in nature. So many people like think what can we do to nature, because nature is getting depleted a lot. We all see that. So my family, we introduced the concept of waste segregation in our apartment. So it's going on successfully. It's a lot of help for the government. It's a lot of help for the corporation to dispose waste efficiently. Like we have these three types of waste that we segregate in. Many people think, yeah, what's the significance of this? What's gonna happen? It's just this one apartment that's doing this, but there are many other apartments in this in Coimbatore, in India and Tamil Nadu, in the world. So yeah, so what's just the idea behind this? But I just learned every single action that we do has some consequence in this world. So like if one person does something, there'll be a huge change somewhere in the corner of the world.
Right.
So this I want to convey this. So this one thought is very important for me. Whatever you do, it has some consequence, which can drastically change the world. It may be good or bad, but it does change the world a lot. So this one thing. And another thing is about writing. So some people think, yeah, writing is so tough. It's so hard. Nothing can happen. I think writing is not possible. So we tell them, noda, writing nothing. I don't do that. So my friends used to tell that, and I think some people do know. It's also based on luck, yeah. So we have to have that skill inborn in our blood. So that's one side. Another side is some people learn writing, and they start writing like that. So one thing is that inborn skill, and another thing is learning. So learning anybody can do if they have the interest to do it. So if we have that interest to write, we will surely excel in that field. So the only thing we have to do is think and believe that we know writing. We can write about anything, and we can create a change in the world. So yeah, so words have a lot of impact, and every person, if they write about their life, if they write about their thoughts, it can like grow a lot in the future, and it can create impact on the reader's mind. So if I write a story, if I write a whole novel on how to like segregate waste and what are the other ways in which we can save the environment, it may not like influence anything right now, but in the future, when technology grows and books become accessible to everyone, it may become like an affecting factor in the world and people's behavior. So yeah, writing is very influential, and everybody should take up writing, and that's what I wanted to do to the society, these two things.
Definitely, I agree with you, because it's true. Both, people think that writing generally is tough, which I too had a mindset as that, because I'm very lazy to write. Like, said, think about some topic and write. As students, we hardly are also writing a classwork, right? So that's like, I'm not even writing my classwork. How would I even write a book? It comes out of interest. So I generally understood it after interviewing like a whole lot of authors, but I hope that conveys to the people as well. And thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being here. I'm so glad that I could meet you up today, and I can more or less find one similarity in between us, which is like, we look for details, right? So you are more or less on a step ahead from me. You're working towards making more minute details. I look for more details in, probably everything which I get attracted in. And hats off to your book. It sounds really amazing to hear. And with that, I hope the viewers liked it. If you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, click on the bell icon for further updates from the first step. Comment down below your favorite questions from this interview. follow our blog, Instagram, LinkedIn. We link it down below in the description box. And with that, signing off, it's Rithvik here and Hasini. I'll see you guys next week. Ta-da, bye.